on growing broccoli and beet microgreens in soil. To start, I have 4 5x5 containers with holes and a 10x10 tray without holes. These smaller trays fit nicely into the bigger 10x10. I can have 4 squares in here. What I'm going to do is plant the beets in the 2 trays on the left and the broccoli in the 2 trays on the right. These are my broccoli seeds. I get these packages from Mountain Valley Seed Company. They are located in Utah. They're not expensive and the seeds last a long time. And these are my beet packages that I also get from Mountain Valley Seed Company. Now, since I'm planting in soil, I have an organic soil mix here, and I use a cup to scoop out the soil into each of the 4 trays that I have prepared. I pat down the soil with my hands to make sure that the soil is level and that there is an even amount in each tray. I also place a label on the tray so I know what I have planted and the date I planted it. A piece of blue painter's tape and a black Sharpie marker does the job. I find that the painter's tape is easy to use and it doesn't leave any glue residue. Now I wet the soil until it is saturated with water. You can't overwater at this point for 2 reasons. First, the seeds need to sprout, so they need a heavy amount of moisture to germinate. So at this stage, more water is fine. Also, the 5x5 trays have holes in the bottom, so any excess water should drip out to the catch tray below. That's the 10x10 tray underneath with no holes. Okay, now I'm ready to spread out the beet seeds on the left side and the broccoli seeds on the right side. I use a teaspoon to measure out and spread the seeds around. I try to get them distributed as evenly as possible, but it's not easy to do a perfect job. Luckily, perfection is not necessary. Just try to spread the seeds out as evenly as possible and in a single layer so that they are not on top of each other, and each seed has its own space to sprout and grow. Now I give the seeds another good spray of water. Again, at this point there's no such thing as too much water. Some people even soak their seeds overnight to get the germination process started. But you can see how much water I used here. So it's almost like they're soaking in water, and this way I don't worry about the soil drying out, at least for a couple of days. Alright, here we are 4 days later, and you can see the beets are starting to germinate. Those are the red colored sprouts starting to poke out of the soil. The white fuzz you see here is not mold. They are root hairs. Trust me, I can see them more clearly than on this video, and I know from past experience that is what you see here. The beet's tiny root hairs looking for something to grab onto as it's growing. And here you can see the broccoli has sprouted and is growing very nicely. These are yellow, not green, because I keep the broccoli covered with a tray lid for the first couple of days as the seeds are sprouting. I do this to keep the seeds in the dark. This way the sprouts become taller as they stretch up looking for light. Now let's take a look at the beets and the broccoli on day 6. I left them uncovered since yesterday since they seem to be growing nicely. So now they've been exposed to light and you can see how green they've become. Okay, now it's day 8 and you can see the broccoli is almost ready to harvest. In fact, it can be harvested, or I can wait for it to grow a bit more. The beets always take a little longer, so they're not ready yet. You can see here when I pull up on the broccoli, the entire piece comes up with the soil. The roots are all matted down into the soil, so I can just pick the entire square up and out to harvest the broccoli. But I want to wait a couple more days until the broccoli microgreens are a bit taller. Alright, today is day 10 and you can see in 2 days the broccoli has grown very nicely, and I'm going to plan to harvest this tomorrow. Here we are at day 11, the next day, and ready to harvest the broccoli. The beets take a little longer. Here I am brushing off the tops of the microgreens to get the hulls off. You should do this every day to loosen the hulls so that they don't become part of the harvest. The best way that I find to harvest the broccoli is to take the entire square out of the tray onto a paper plate. It comes out very neatly. Just make sure that the soil is dry when you do this. So don't water the microgreens just before you are harvesting. So now I am ready to harvest. I have a pair of scissors that I use only for my microgreens, and I have the basket from my salad spinner ready. And now I'm ready to cut. You can see a mat of roots here. You can't reuse any of this, so go ahead and throw it into your compost pile. You can see I didn't use a lot of soil. The microgreens don't really need soil to grow. I have grown broccoli microgreens in the past on paper towels, and they came out fine, but I think when they're grown in soil, they come out richer and healthier looking. It could be because the soil retains water better, and the paper towels tend to dry out unless you water them twice a day. You can grow microgreens on any medium, paper towels, coconut coir, soil like I do. I even saw somebody on YouTube using a window screen to grow them, and I think I'm going to give that a try. Okay, let's take this over to the sink, and we're going to rinse and swish the broccoli around to dislodge more of the hulls. And as I lift the strainer basket out of the bowl, you can see that a lot of the hulls are washed away. Now I put the lid on and spin the microgreens dry a couple of times. All right, that's one time. Now again. All right, and now they are pretty dry. Let's spread them out on a paper towel, and you can see they are nice and clean and dry. Now it is day 18. I harvested the broccoli a week ago, and now the beets are finally ready for harvest. You can see they are nice and tall and have beautiful red stems. These make an excellent garnish for any dish, or you can toss this in your salad for extra color and nutrition. I can lift this out of the tray just like I did with the broccoli. I use these scissors for cutting my microgreens. I actually have a few of these scissors. I think they came 3 in a pack. But I make sure that these are dedicated only for my plants. You can see how easily this just popped out of the tray, and once it's out, it makes it a lot easier to cut. I'm going to put these in the strainer from my salad spinner, and that also makes it easier to wash, and then I spin it dry. The microgreens stay nice and fresh longer if you spin them dry. Or just don't wash them, store them away right after you harvest them. If you store them away wet, they will turn slimy and not stay fresh. So if you don't have a salad spinner or a way to dry your microgreens, just store them away dry right after you harvest them, and then when you're ready to eat them, make sure you wash them really well. Okay, let's snip a bunch and take a look. See how beautiful they are? Okay. And now we are done. All the beet microgreens are in the strainer, ready to be washed and spun dry. Take a look at the scissors. You see the red on the scissors? That's beet juice. These guys are really delicious. Okay, let me do the second tray. And here I have a nice bunch of microgreens ready to eat after I wash them and spin them dry. All right, here I'm using the salad spinner again to wash these. Now with the broccoli microgreens, the hulls washed away easily, but these hulls are much bigger and they don't go through the strainer. Here you can see what they look like. They do float to the top, so I fish out as many as I can, but they are very annoying. If anyone has a suggestion for getting rid of these more easily, I would appreciate a comment below. So I spend a little time fishing out as many as I can, and then I spin these dry. In spite of my best efforts, you can see some of these hulls still cling stubbornly to the little plants. So I really would like some feedback from you guys out there if you have a solution. But for the most part, my microgreens are clean and really delicious. Here is my beet microgreen harvest. It took about 12 days to grow, but look how beautiful they look. And I love the taste, which is on the mild side. My favorite microgreens are broccoli, sunflowers, and then beets in that order. Look at this. These microgreens are perfect for adding to your salads, your soups, your sandwiches, just about anywhere. Give growing microgreens a try. It's really a rewarding experience and they grow so easily. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. And thank you for watching. Bye!